Last Sunday, Manchester United kicked off the 2022-23 season against Brighton and Hove Albion. Leading up to the game, many fans would have agreed that the summer transfer window had been an absolute shambles, with Frankie de Jong proving harder to court than your high school crush. Eriksen, Martinez and Malacia had walked through the door, but their arrivals were overshadowed by Ronaldo's alleged demands to leave the club. Nevertheless, United enjoyed an encouraging pre-season under the new manager, Erik ten Hag, demonstrating a refreshing style of play and beating the likes of Liverpool 4-0 and Crystal Palace 3-1. While pre-season didn't end as well as it had begun, the front three of Rashford, Martial and Sancho were firing, and cautious optimism was building amongst the fanbase. Unfortunately, it wouldn't last very long. News surfaced only days out from the game that Tony Martial had suffered a short-term injury, and his return date was unclear. With Ronaldo not yet match fit, and with no other true number 9 in the squad, fans were sent into panic mode. Would Rashford play up top and Elanga slide in on the wing? Would Bruno play up front as a false 9? Ten Hag had the answer for us in his pre-match press conference, when it suggested that in fact it would be Eriksen who would be operating furthest forward due to his experience playing there earlier in his career. It wasn't ideal, but it was something, I guess. Meanwhile, our opening day opponents had lost 2 key members of their squad, Cucurella to Chelsea and Bissouma to Spurs. This could only be good news for many United fans, for whom the 4-0 spanking at the hands of Brighton at the tail end of last season was still fresh on their minds. Still, Brighton under Graham Potter were arguably a more stable football club than United at present, finishing the highest they ever had in the Premier League last season. Come match day, these were the starting 11s for both teams. It's fair to say that on paper, United's 11 was superior. Surely, in a match that would mark the beginning of a new chapter, with a new coach with bright ideas, a new hierarchy, a clean slate for players following an abysmal season, surely we'd mark the season off with a win. Surely. Right? Literally 10 seconds into the match, United would have their first scare, all of their own doing. From the kickoff, Brighton play the ball back to their centre-back, who boots it upfield, as is customary. Martinez controls the ball calmly and plays it out to Dalot, who dawdles on the ball and is immediately closed down by Trossard. Trossard bolts after the ball and gets off a left-footed volley, which luckily only hits the side netting. Nervy. Apart from that moment though, United actually started the game off quite well, unafraid to keep playing out from the back. An example from the 6th minute. After winning a loose ball, Fred in possession passes back to Martinez, who expertly finds Bruno along the left touchline. He cuts in and pings a pass across field to Dalot, who moves it up the pitch to Sancho. Sancho weaves his way in field to find McTominay, who had made a strong run into the box from midfield. He takes a shot, which deflects perfectly into Bruno's path, only for him to sky the ball into Rosette. The score was still level, but this was encouraging. Were we starting to see a new United? Not 3 minutes after that chance, things started getting uncomfortable for United. Trying to play out from the back, Dalot plays a ball into De Gea, who calmly rolls the ball to Fred. Instead of laying the ball off to an unmarked Maguire, Fred plays a perfect through ball for Trossard. To his credit, he busts his gut to get back into the play and puts in an excellent tackle. Very shaky. Was this just Fred being Fred, or a sign of things to come? As the game progressed, an interesting pattern emerged in Brighton's tactics. Brighton have a reputation of playing good, attractive football, moving the ball around with ease and playing out from the back. So then, what's this? Clearly by design, Sanchez continued to hoof the ball forward as far as he could, as often as he could, throughout the entire match. This took United's pressing entirely out of the game, something we'd worked so hard on all of pre-season. Welcome to the Premier League, Eric. It was a battle for second balls now, a battle of midfields, and United had better be up for it. Throughout the match, Brighton constantly looked to exploit the channel between United's centre-back and full-back. It would eventually result in a goal in the 30th minute. Trossard, with possession on the left wing, waits for Welbeck, who was a handful all game long, to make a run into the channel. He does, and Trossard plays a nice through ball into the box. Welbeck latches onto it, with no United player within 5 yards of him. Martinez tries to recover and get the block in, but Welbeck manages to play a brilliant ball across the goal. Maguirs' recovery is too slow to cover Brighton's player in the middle, so Shaw is forced to come infield. When the ball evades all the players, it leaves Gross wide open to smash it home. A great move by Brighton, which completely exposed the weaknesses in United's defence. United tried to get themselves back in the game, but tragedy would strike once again not too soon after. Brighton have the ball near their corner flag after United's attack breaks down, and United players attempt to press the ball high. Trossard, whose name's coming up a lot in this recap, plays a clever back heel up the touchline. Caicedo receives the ball and easily shrugs off Eriksen before playing the ball down the line to Gross. Gross plays the ball into Lallana, who finds March on the right wing. He takes Shaw on, who inexplicably allows March to cut in onto a strong foot and take a shot at goal. De Gea makes a decent save but doesn't manage to push the ball away from the danger zone. Fred doesn't anticipate the ball ricocheting in his direction and is too slow to react, which allows Gross, again, to smash it home. an avoidable goal coming down to individual errors. Half-time stats would read like this: United dominating possession due to Brighton's insistence in going long, but posing very little threat with 5 shots compared to Brighton's 12. Shortly into the second half, Ten Hag made his first change as head coach. Ronaldo was introduced into the game, much to the dismay of Fred. To be fair though, he wasn't having a great game. This prompted a change in roles, with Eriksen now occupying Fred's deep-lying midfielder position. The impact of this move was immediately noticeable, as Eriksen injected real pace into United's attack with accurate long passes and overall positive ball progression, something United was sorely lacking in the first half. Brighton, unfazed, was still up to their old tricks, with Welbeck posing a problem once again down the channel. Martinez did well this time to track the run, before saying YOLO and blatantly barging him over. No penalty was given, but leave your thoughts down below. Was this a pen, or just a butcher doing his butchering? Soon after that incident, United would be presented with an unbelievable chance. Brighton once again plays a looping ball down the channel. Shaw successfully recovers and plays the ball back to De Gea, who calmly finds Dalot in acres of space. The impact of having a true number 9 up front comes into full focus, as Ronaldo makes the same run Welbeck has been making all game. He's found expertly by Dalot, whose ball over the top takes out all but one of Brighton's defence. Ronaldo plays a perfect ball across to Rashford, who's one-on-one with the keeper. He shoots, and should have scored, but Sanchez closes the angle brilliantly and makes a huge save with his left hand. A golden opportunity that was only able to be created by having a striker making runs in behind. Shortly afterwards, Rashford would be presented with yet another chance. Bruno receives the ball from Eriksen on the right wing and plays a fantastic ball towards the back post. Rashford arrives on the volley on his weaker foot and unfortunately skies it over the bar. No goals yet still for United, but the chances were coming more regularly now. And not 3 minutes later, United would finally get their first goal under Ten Hag from a corner. Bruno takes the corner as United players crowd Brighton's goalkeeper. Sanchez attempts to punch the ball but is unable to do so, as Dalot legally competes for the ball. The ball ricochets and fortuitously rolls off Dalot's back in the direction of the goal. The ball doesn't have much pace though, and McAllister, who had run back to cover the back post, is in prime position to hoof it clear. At the same time, however, Sanchez, who's in full panic mode, has only one thing on his mind as he desperately tries to claw the ball away from the goal with his left hand. 2 rights make a wrong, and the ball comes off Sanchez's glove straight into McAllister's flailing shin and into the back of the net for an own goal. After all the chances we had, that's the goal we score. We'll take it. The game would continue on without much excitement for 20 odd minutes before United got another chance from a corner. Despite United's preference for in-swinging corners, Eriksen steps up to deliver an outswinger towards the back post. Martinez meets it with his head, but the contact isn't clean. The ball bounces off the defender in front of him before landing perfectly in Martinez's stride for a shot on goal. Absolutely out of nowhere, Lewis Dunk, the captain, comes flying in to make a game-saving block. The angle was tight, but without the block there's no way of knowing where the ball would have ended up. With 3 United players waiting in line for a tap-in, Ten Hag would make a few late substitutions, and we see star boy Garnacho introduced, as well as Malacia, who completes the trio of new signings to feature in the game. It wouldn't change the outcome though. Full-time stats would read like this. Possession stats finished almost identical to that in the first half, but United clearly posed much more of a threat in the second half, as they managed 12 more shots on goal compared to Brighton's 3, with 3 of those on target. Eriksen's Scholes-esque play from deep was a key in United's upturn in performance, as well as Ronaldo occupying Brighton's central defence. A very disappointing result to kick off the season for United and Ten Hag, after what was supposed to be an exciting new chapter for the club. Despite some positive moments, United's lack of conviction in their play, especially in the first half, was still a glaring issue. The McFred midfield partnership continues to frustrate fans as the club looks for reinforcements in the market. Their ball-playing issues were once again highlighted when Eriksen completely outperformed them in the role. Rashford arguably should have scored twice, and Sancho is far from his best self with multiple errant passes. Ronaldo's situation remains clear as mud, causing division within the fan base as United remain desperately short up front. Martinez, while he looked eerily comfortable on the ball, struggled to adjust fully to the defensive side of Premier League football. Maguire, while also being useful on the ball, did very little to fend off the critics from last season with his unconvincing defending and lack of recovery pace. Match Day 1 has left us with more questions than answers. How will the players react? What changes will Ten Hag make? Who, if any at all, will United sign? Will our first win of the season come against Brentford? Join me here next week for Chapter 2. Leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below what you thought about the game against Brighton.